Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lead with Giants TV. Tonight on our program is a special guest that he is Lead with Giants himself, Bill Treasurer. Welcome to our show.
Oh, Tal, it's so great to be with you and great to be with you, Elizabeth, as well. I'm looking forward to being with all your listeners as well.
Great. Well, our audience has been anticipating and been following you in all the social media outlets, and especially with your book coming out on the second edition, Leaders Open Doors. But I want to introduce Bill Treasurer for those of you who are don't know him yet. I'm sure you'll see him around in social media in regards to leadership and other adventures. But Bill Treasurer is the Chief Encouragement Officer. I really like that title, and we'll talk more about that in the program, of Giant Leap Consulting. His latest book is Leaders Open Doors, and focusing on how leaders create growth through opportunities. Bill is also the author of Courage Goes to Work, an international best-selling book that introduces the concept of courage building. Bill has led courage building workshops for leaders with companies such as NASA, Accenture, CNN, Hugo Boss, and Saks Fifth Avenue. Well, it's a pleasure to have you, and I'm honored to have you on the program, Bill.
Well, you all with Lead with Giants are very into leadership. I know that the audience is into leadership. It's a passion topic of mine, so I'm looking forward to the time that we're going to be spending together.
Excellent. You out there traveling in Chicago this week, right?
I am. I am not just a leadership writer, but I'm a practitioner of leadership development, and I work with clients all the time doing full-day workshops and designing, developing, and delivering leadership programs. And tomorrow I'm working with I've got three Chicago clients, and I'm working with one of my clients, and tomorrow's topic is leadership and culture change. So I actually enjoy that particular workshop a lot.
Oh, great. That's something I would love to hear. And also joining us, Liston Sally from Utah. Welcome to our show.
Hi guys, great to be here with both of you.
Great to have you. So let's talk about Leaders Open Doors. This is the second edition, and some of the things that come with this book is an amazing, heartfelt story that I would like for you, Bill, to share with our audiences, not only the backstory, but the good cause that this book is going to go into.
Well, I wanted when I wrote Leaders Open Doors, and I'm happy to share with you sort of the birth story of the book as we go on. But I wanted the book to embody its own message. The book is about the importance of leaders creating opportunities for those that they lead. That leaders are not just problem solvers and people who make results happen. That leaders have to be opportunity creators. Opportunity is what motivates people. And so I wanted the book itself to be opening doors for people along the way. And the best way to do that, I felt, was for the book all of my royalties to be donated to programs that support kids with special needs, and specifically with kids with cerebral palsy. And it just so happens that I have a daughter with cerebral palsy. Now, we're not going to benefit from book royalties in any way at all, but there are many programs that serve kids like her, like United Cerebral Palsy, like the March of Dimes, and they're mostly underfunded. So I wanted to make sure that the book was doing good and useful things for people who sometimes have a hard time opening doors for themselves.
It's a wonderful story, and it's a great transition for us to really talk about the birth of the book, because it's inspired by one of your children, and his name is Ian. So talk to us about that.
Well, I do, like I said, I'm a practitioner of leadership development, and this is my fourth book. I wrote a book on courage, another one on risk-taking, another one on assertiveness, and I think that me and a lot of other leadership writers spend too much time complexifying the idea of leadership. To be honest with you, Tal, I think that a lot of leadership writers, myself included, try to prove to you how smart we are by using big fancy pants words and quadrant models and the strategic evaluative problem. And all that stuff has its place, but a good book shouldn't exhaust you like a hard day at work. And I had a conversation with my 5-year-old son that took me back to really what's most essential about leadership. He got to be the class leader at the Montessori school where he goes to school in Asheville. This is a couple of years ago. And he came home from school, and my wife said, "Hey, honey, Ian got to be the class leader today." And I thought, class leader? How cool is that? My son, I'm the one who goes all around the world teaching leadership development. I'm the big smart guy. My son gets to be the class leader. I said, "Come here, Ian. How cool is that? You get to be class leader, buddy. What'd you get to do as class leader?" And I didn't know what he would say next, but I certainly didn't expect that he'd say, yep, I got to open doors for people. And I thought about it, and I was like, wow, I got to open doors for people. It wasn't what I expected, but with 7 simple words, I got to open doors for people. I thought about leaders that had made an impact on me. There were always folks who believed in me before I believed in myself, who had given me a shot, who took a chance on me, who gave me a proving ground, who opened up a door for me to help find myself in the process. They bettered me as a professional. And I thought, well, there might be an idea for a book there about leaders open doors, because that's what leaders should do, is open doors for the people they lead. Tal, leadership is not about the leader. It's never been about the leader. It's always been about those people. Leadership is about the people being served and led. So that simple statement from my book, from my son, just sort of flowered with ideas, and it became the birth of the book, Leaders Open Doors.
It's really so interesting, though, something that you're right. We tend to. My favorite words, by the way, they're always alignment or re-engineering. All these kind of corporate words are not really the heart of leadership. But I'm curious to know if you had your conversation afterwards and you published a book. Going back to your son, how did he react?
He was. We actually did a video promo. And he's the voice. So like if you go to leadersopendoors.com, you can see the promo, and it's a cartoon promo. So I wanted to make sure that when the book was written, that I stayed away from the jargon, that I stayed away from complexifying leadership, that I stopped trying to prove to you that I'm smart. I wanted to make sure that the book resonated with useful and sometimes simple ideas, but take you back to the North Star concepts of leadership. So I wanted it to have sort of not a childish flavor, but a simplistic in terms of simple ideas. So I brought my son in to do the videotape, and if you watch it, it's a cartoon, and then my son does the voice. He's the voiceover in the videotape, so he got to do that. And I'm pleased to say, I think that when I took out the jargon and when I stopped using fancy pants SAT words and big college exit textbook words, that the book has resonated more. It's accessible, that people find it, it's an easy read. It doesn't have to weigh you down like a hard day at work. And I think it's resonated as a book that people say, it causes them to think of the leaders that have opened doors for them, and then it causes them to think, have I opened enough doors for people? And if it does that, if it does those 2 things, to me that's enough. Just a couple of simple ideas that they can hang their hat on.
Great. Well, we'll dive into those ideas. Let me open the door for Liz and Sally there.
Bill, so I love the story about your son, and it kind of plays into the idea that, leadership isn't what we do, it's who we are. And, we play this role in every area of our lives. And you talk about something that really applies to leaders, frontline workers, stay-at-home parents, our personal lives, our professional lives, and this is to focus on the opportunities, not the problems. Can you touch on that a little bit?
I can. I was in a meeting today. It was an innovation meeting with a number of companies. Some of the companies you would definitely know, and I remember one of the executives priding herself on these problem-solving meetings that they have. And I kind of cringe when I hear that now, because it's so much more important. Peter Drucker said the focus of the organization must be on opportunities rather than on problem solving. And yet we're always focused on the problem at hand, that we must put out the fire and the problem and so. But opportunity is what motivates people. A lot of leaders brag about what keeps them awake at night. Well, what keeps me awake at night is we're not moving fast enough. What keeps me awake at night is the competition is right on our heels. What keeps me awake at night is the technological infrastructure is not growing fast enough. What keeps me awake at night? It's like they want you to be really worried about the business. Because unless you're worried about the business, they'll never be able to sleep at night. But the truth is, employees don't care about what keeps you awake at night. That's not what motivates people. What motivates employees is what gets you up in the morning. Why are you excited to go to work each day? What are the opportunities on the horizon, and what are the opportunities for them if they can contribute to the furthering of the goals? How does it benefit them? So Benjamin Disraeli, the former Prime Minister of Great Britain, said that opportunities are more powerful even than conquerors and prophets. And if you think about the immigrant story of many, if not most, Americans, it involves the intrepid soul who left the safe shores of the known in their home country to come in search of opportunity, in search of a better life. People are animated by, engaged by, and motivated by the idea of opportunity. We need to stop talking about problem solving and start talking about opportunity creation as it relates to leadership.
So this is kind of a good transitions for us to talk about two concepts, or two people, if you will, the fillers and the spillers. So would you say the spillers, and I'll let you define that for our audience because they're probably wondering what the heck am I talking about, but let you define that first, and then how do we become, fillers leaders? How do we do that?
Well, the fillers and spillers concepts is that I think that leaders, sort of tend to divide into two different camps. And those are leaders that try to motivate you by injecting you with fear and anxiety, what keeps me awake at night kind of people. And they're always hyper-focused on mitigating and controlling and minimizing risk. That's what's always on their mind. And they view everything coming into the organization as a threat and a risk that needs to be controlled and contained. The challenge with those leaders is they transmit their own fear and they spill it on to you. So we call them spillers. And then you pick up their fear and transmit it to others. And ultimately, it doesn't serve the leader very well because you don't have a lot of loyalty for a leader who puts a lot of fear inside of you. Bottom line. I contrast that to leaders who they hold you accountable to your potential. They nudge you into discomfort appropriately to help you grow, but they believe in you and they put courage inside of you. They're transmitting their own courage. They role model the very things that they're asking you to do. And it's not about fear, it's about opportunity. And I call those leaders fillers because they're filling you with courage and conviction. You can think of it as the actual word discouragement. I'm pulling courage outside of you. It's spilling from you is a spiller. The leader who put courage inside of you, they are encouraging you. They're putting courage inside of you. That's a filler. And the byproduct that they get, when you have a leader that puts a lot of courage inside of you, that nudges you into discomfort to help you grow, that opens doors for you and helps you become a better professional, you become loyal to them probably for your whole life. So the dividend for them, the self-enlightenment of why they should be an open-door leader, is because they get loyalty out of you in the process.
And I really think that, and to kind of expand on that idea, is the fillers are saying, it's more about you, it's not about me. And the spillers, I think, kind of, it's what's in it for me, or I'm kind of self-inflicting here. And the fillers are really looking for opportunities to get to co-create with people rather than what at the end of the day, what do I need to accomplish, and I am the problem solver, and here's what we got. Is that a fair way to look at it?
I think that's a great distinction, that ultimately a spiller is about themselves. They're afraid of being embarrassed by whatever mistake you might make. They're afraid of the risk. If you take the risk and it fails, it becomes a reflection on them. They're really self-focused. Fear does that, I think, to people. It gets them insular to themselves. Right. And you're right, a filler, the most noble version of a filler is somebody who's doing something on your behalf to help you grow and succeed. The challenge is this, though, Tal. I think that any purpose, I think it's almost simplistic for people to think, well, those spillers over there, and I'm glad I'm not one of them. I think that we all have the potential to be a spiller and a filler. And in any given situation, it might shift between what we are. And this was another one of those instances where my kids remind me of this, because I remember teaching my boy Alex, my oldest son, about the concept of spillers. And then one day, he was getting ready to do something, and I was giving him a lot of the negatives and a lot of the don'ts. Well, don't do this, and make sure you don't do that. And he finally looked at me and said, Dad, you're totally being a spiller.
That's funny.
I was.
Well, but you're right. We kind of closing segment one here is with that thought. We all have that, and depending on, I hate to use another terminology, but situational leadership sometimes call for that, and we naturally react rather than responding. And I think that's another extension is, are you a reacting leader or you are a responding leader? And when you respond, you're not becoming this person who's just intimidating people.
Agreed. I think composure is exceptionally important when it comes to leadership. I think that too many leaders instantly react and frankly fly off the handle, mostly with anger and temper. And a lot of people, and Liz, I don't know if this is the case for a woman, but I can certainly speak to most men. A lot of times the first archetypal imprint of what leadership is for a man is how their father was. And a lot of times we're a reflection of our father's anger and temper, and that comes out in how we lead others. So I think it's very important for a leader to slow down the cadence, to understand the importance of composure, and also understand what are the puppets from the past that might be influencing their behaviors today so that they can make conscious choices on how they lead and not just lead out of habit and reaction from imprints that are way, from the recessions in their mind that ultimately all the time or very oftentimes lead back to their father.
Right, right. Okay, Liz, do you want to comment on that? Do you feel that there's...
Let me tell you how I see it from the female point of view. A lot of women feel like they're competing in a man's world. So many try to behave like the men they have observed. I think we're getting a new breed of female leader that's breaking the mold, but in the past I think it's been women modeling the men that they've watched succeed and move up through the ranks.
That would be my experience as well. I firmly agree that there is a new, very progressive and very contemporary style of leading that women are moving into. They're coming into leadership in their own right, and they've made great strides on dismantling the glass ceiling. I hope it gets very dismantled. We still, unfortunately, only have 24 CEOs that are Fortune 500 company CEOs that are women. We need a lot more, and the research is really starting to show that when you have women in high percentages on board of directors, shareholder value goes up. So hopefully the money will start influencing people to choose women. I also agree with you that at least my experience of some women that I grew up with in the past that were older, that are now in their 60s and such, almost had to become more male than men in order to be successful.
All right. Well, you guys have a great first half here in our interview, a lot of ideas to dive into. So we'll close segment 1 here. Thank you, Bill and Liz, and we'll catch you in just a minute.